Hello everyone, my name is Anuj. I'm SRE at Rig Central, and I'm also a co-founder at AI which is a non-profit community to help tech professionals in growing their career. Today I'll be presenting uh, basically integration of Gemini API with Google Map as an example, how we can use it to get location insights and making a Google map more smarter. Let's begin with the agenda. So, uh, as we can see, we'll start with a brief overview of generative AI to ensure we're all on the same page. Then we will dive into Google Gemini to explore its capabilities and features. Next, we will look at uh, Google Maps platform and its extensive APIs. The core of our presentation will be focused on integrating maps with Gemini to create more intelligent location descriptions, basically making Google Maps more smarter. Finally, we will discuss how this application can be similar application basically can be built as a Chrome extension uh, with a little bit different flavor, but with the same goal. So, but, in summary, in the Chrome extension, I'll be using open source option as an open map to explore, which is the another approach we can use to generate maps instead of Google Maps. So, uh, now let's start. Generative AI. So it refers to basically artificial intelligence model which are capable of creating new content across formats, including text, code, image, video, and music. So LLM, on the other side, are a subset of generative AI specifically trained on text data to produce textual content. Google Gemini is a prime example of generative AI that excels at generating human-like uh, text-based prompts. These models work by analyzing patterns, various vast datasets, and using knowledge to generate contextual relevant outputs. Okay, so to begin with the Google Gemini, let's know a little bit background about it. Google Gemini is the latest multimodal AI system released in 2023 December. And yeah, it's accessible through Google AI Studio for experimentation and through API for integration into application. And we will also use it. We're going to use it. Uh, it is particularly suitable for our GeoExplorer application uh, in its context-aware responses. And it has ability to generate information about specific geographical locations. So why not? Uh, it can understand and process coordinate, address, and other location to provide meaningful insights. So a little bit uh, understanding the offerings or different models available. Uh, so there is also a reasoning model we have, but I think it's not in this, or maybe it's part of pro experimental. But basically, it provides a couple of model options with its capabilities that are visible here. We're using Flash 1.5, which is good enough for our requirement. So here's a snippet of JavaScript. You can use it here. In this, if we see, we are just defining a API key as an environment variable, and then we are calling it and using it with our Gemini 1.15 Flash model and giving a prompt, which and then we get the response back. If you see the response.txt is used, but you can convert it into JSON if you need a JSON response. This is just a snippet I took from the official documentation. And uh, the other is Google Maps. We know what Google Maps are, and these are like Google Maps AI platform. But before diving more into Google Maps AI platform, I'll go a little bit behind Google Gemini. Uh, and if you see here, this is our application. I'll show you a little bit more about its features. What you can do is we'll need to go to, as I said, good at, I'm not showing that. So we need to go a little bit, we need to go to googleaistudio.com, as I said, to get the key. And if we open it, you need to log in with the Google account with that probably. And then you click on get a API key, and it'll ask you if you will try to open API key, it'll ask you what project you have, and you might be thinking maybe you won't have any project. How do you get it? So for that, you need to uh, go to, yeah, here. You can maybe get the Gemini API from here as well, Google Cloud. I just took it from there. So this URL, what you need to open is console.cloud.google.com. I'm just using the trial version, and you need to click here. You won't see Geo Explorer here. You will see maybe something else, and you'll click new project here. And I'm already using the free trial, so it won't allow me to create, but you basically will get option to create a new project. And once you create it, you will see, you will give it a name, and you will see option like this. Once you click your project name, it'll open some bar inside the project. Uh, Now, how to navigate? You, yeah, you have the project created. Okay, so I'll come back to this later on when I will be using the Google Map platform API. So once the project is created, you will come back to AI Studio, and you may need to refresh maybe, or maybe not. Just to be on safer side, just refresh it like this. And then again, click on the create API key. And then you will probably see the your project you created in the Google Cloud Console here as well. And then you're going to select it, and then click on create key in existing project. If you, I don't think you can create a, you don't have option to create a project here. You can do it only from the Google Cloud. So yeah, just follow that. Okay, so we know how to create API from Google Gemini now. Once you get the API, just copy that and save it locally somewhere at a secure place. Or I will show you in some time where to paste it. So are we all following along? Uh, okay. So uh, talking about Google Map platform now. It provides comprehensive suites of API SDKs about map, routes, and I have added all this information here. How do you see that all information? You'll need to go to the probably you'll need to go to the yeah, you'll need to go to the, you just search on Google Map platform, and you'll go to the documentation section, and you see they have such a big uh documentation. You can, for geolocation API, geocoding API, we're using those, and address validation API. to validate the address that you're putting some any home address or something, and then you have different API for roads and pretty comprehensive, and they have uh, provided or classified those in different categories. So the interesting one maybe for hackathon you can use in like for air quality, pollen related data you can collect with that, and maybe like a street view imagery, and then yeah. So and I think the geo address validation is very good also for getting the validation of the data. Uh, Now, like if we want to integrate them, and before that, we may just want to know why we want to use Gemini for location insights, and basically, we can say it's an ideal choice for enhancing location for with the meaningful context for several reasons. Why? So it has the extensive knowledge for knowledge retained in its model, basically with the Google Map data or other longitude and latitude based information, and probably would be getting those updates from Google Map as well. The model demonstrates strong spatial awareness and it understand relationship between location and their significance. Its multimodal capabilities allow to process in coordinating data and generate relevant contextual description. What does it mean? So if I look at the app and I click here, maybe, or it is just the initial location that I have selected to make it easy for me. It was close to my location, so I just set it as an initial location. That time, it's not selecting the current location. Maybe I should have used that option. Could be better. But so yeah, when I say uh, is providing like a contextual description based on our coordinates that we are selecting, is that what I mean to say? Uh, it's a benefit. So now next step is we will go with cloning the repository. Before that, or maybe yeah, we can get the Google Map API after the cloning. So you just select this repo, github.com, AI TechNav, uh, Geo Explorer, web app. Sorry for the long repo, or you can just open github.com slash atechnav, and then what you can do, you go to the repositories and you go to the web app option, and then you just click here and select this and clone it. I didn't have added how to run in the readme, but I will update it. Here is the structure of the code, and I will explain it also. Here I have provided summary for each file, what it does. So let's take some time to clone the repo and tell me once everyone is done with the repository cloning. Uh, okay. Okay, everyone is done. Okay. So next step, you go to the directory after cloning the repo. And if you have npm install, then you can, or you use Node.js, you can run npm install g HTTP server to run the local HTTP server. So basically, this application need a local HTTP web server to be running. So either you can use npm or you can use Python based HTTP server. It doesn't matter. The what you use, both will basically run HTTP server. And here, like if you see in Python, I'm running HTTP server on port 8000. And once you will, I don't remember what port does npm use, but then we will start it. It will show you listening on this port. Okay, so let's go a little bit into. So yeah, this is our application as we saw. Let's understand a little bit structure of the code. So map config.js set up map and its initial state. So if I go to JavaScript and map config.js, so we have set up initial map center as a DC that I was telling you. Uh, so yeah, that's something about it. And in app.js, we will look into the other application app.js. Here we are loading like our DOM, and it basically coordinate with the overall logic. If I go to index.js, this has been entry point application. So HTML file where what we are basically running initially when we open it on the local host. So after running the web server, yeah, you basically have to run localhost. You don't necessarily have to run slash HTML, but it will do it by itself. Okay, maybe in this case it's not doing, but yeah, maybe in my old case I was doing that. But basically, yeah, you give the path index.html, and then it will load this file, and then you can see I have defined all those options: default map, satellite, train, night mode, and all those the same one we have here as well, right? Uh, okay. And then moving forward, there are some control column options. The same in the sidebar, we have uh, a save location option. We can save locations as well, just like in Google Map, and like a transit layer, bicycle layer. It's just pretty standard HTML. And then I'm calling Google Maps API key and Gemini API key from config.js. Uh, oh, yeah, I forgot to update it. Let me show you. I forgot to update it here. So this is the only change. So here in index.html, we have config.js here. Yeah, I recently made this change to avoid uh, revealing keys and call keys from a different file. Yeah, this is the only change. There's no other change except that. Here we are calling our JavaScript file, and since this is like a initial entry point, here we are calling the all the JavaScripts map styles, and map style is more related to our styling of the UI-based information, and then API service interface with both Google Maps and API or the Gemini API. Chat interface provide assistance for location inquiries that we are doing. Basically, yeah. So this is what I'm talking about. So if I ask like, what are the must-visit places in maybe Hudson Valley, since we are there. Oh, it added the Troy itself, maybe. Yeah, something automatically. So the user query is confusing as you mentioned Hudson Valley and Troy separately. See, it is even getting trying to understand what uh if I did a typo here, I repeated sentence two times, and but it started providing recommendation which places you should visit here and nearby, and yeah, and if I'm clicking here, I'm getting response about this location, current location. What where is it happening is happening in the location manager. And if I go to location manager.js, this JavaScript file is, see, click position. I've added comments enough to understand. When you click location, and we're going to invoke this from our index.html location manager here, right? So that's most about understanding the code. And if anyone having problem in running this application, let me know. But this is more straightforward approach. We'll move now towards the getting the map API because oh yeah, you don't have a map maybe. Yeah. So first get the map API. So first we will going to open console.cloud .google.com just like that. Yeah, we've created the project. Yeah. Okay, sorry. We created the project, but we didn't get the API by that time. So you click that create project, and then you click on the Google Map platform. When you click on the Google Map platform, uh, you will see this kind of sidebar, and you have to click on keys and credentials. And now I already have a key here, but you will click on create credentials, or maybe you'll get a pop-up already to create a key. Uh, by default, your key will have some restriction. It'll also in pop-up will ask you to uh, restrict some access. Uh, with security practice, you should always do that. And if you're running any application publicly, not in localhost, then also you should do that. By default, it selects restricted key option, and then uh, I just selected non-restricted key because there is no localhost option. And maybe if I select IP address and localhost, it will allow me. Uh, and if you want this to run on any specific application, select website, or to run on specific server address, which is static, not like keep changing. You can add those as well. If you want to allow on a specific Android app or iOS app, you can select those options. So pretty comprehensive options to restrict your API usage, so that even if someone steal your API key, not able to use those outside your application or your server, right? Uh, Understanding the data flow is so okay. Let's take some time to create it. I'm going maybe too fast. Yeah, once you're done, let me know. Okay, so it looks like yeah. Okay, I will tell you. You guys just go to the config.js, and you'll find options to add. They are just basically two variables to add map API key and Gemini API key. So just do that. So here for the data flow, like I said, when we click on our map, it will trigger handle map click function, and then it call the location manager, which has the function to reverse lookup for the location from the address. So it will give you if for that longitude and latitude, it'll find any location name, and then Gemini API is also called to give you description about the content. So generate content if we want to see think it's It's generate content. Yeah, generate content. I think it's in yeah, it's in API service because we're communicating with the APIs. And here it defines you're taking longitude and latitude as input, and by default address is set to null. But if it gives some, if you get it from map, then it will take that as well, and we'll send it to our Gemini API, which is generative language.googleapi.com. We're using Flash 1.5 model, and in future we can use other one, and then we need to pass our Gemini API key, right? And yeah, rest is pretty straightforward. You'll get a response back just like we are sending the prompt. This is a default one. It will get overridden. This will be like concatenated with the input that we are getting here. And then we'll get the prompt back, and I'm parsing the prompt, parsing the response that we are getting. And then we'll send it back to our Google Map with the post method, and in the JSON format. And in case we get any error, based on the exception, if we are not able to send it, well, I'm throwing this error retrieving information. Maybe probably you get this in the Google DevTools. So if your API map is not working as expected, you probably go to more tools, developer tools, and read this. These are some warnings. These are not errors, but it may tell you something. They will be mostly in red, and this is basically working it. These are, I think, the old errors, and I don't have problem in running the any maps. Some of them are warning. Okay, so that's about Google Map API. And yeah, I showed you both of those examples with the location assistant, like a chatbot, and this for all location when we click and we invoke the Gemini API. How can we make this kind of API integration more reliable and secure is to add a fallback mechanism. Uh, so adding a fallback mechanism when the API response fail, ensuring the user experience is not broken. And in JavaScript, like we are using async pattern, which is very common in JavaScript, but better to use with other languages also. Uh, that promises to manage API request flow that we want. The other one is loading states that are clearly indicating so that in the application that clearly indicate users indicate the users while waiting for the responses. So we get the user who is using the application get the responses like what exactly the state of the application or the request flow. Also separate the API logic and organize the code in a better way for better maintainability. In the security consideration perspective, validate all input before sending it to API. So in order to avoid injection attack, like someone is passing JavaScript or something to test, better avoid that for security reasons, and use HTTPS in the application by adding the certificate to try certificates without buying them. You can use open source or free services like Let's Encrypt. You can search for Let's Encrypt and you can use them. You can handle connectivity issues. You should handle connectivity issues also, like you're not able to reach to any API for any reason because of connectivity issues, and uh, that that is also like a good way to have a reliable API communication. So now you might be thinking, how did we switch to now this Chrome extension. So the next topic, what I tried that can be useful for your hackathon also. So we learned how to make a web application, but and some people, for most of us, may be good idea to use Google Map and Gemini with for security application. But if we want to create a Chrome extension, I'm just showing it as an example with like how we can use it as well. And you may not need to do too many major changes, but some of them you need to understand. Uh, one of them is, yeah, I'm actually using not the Google Map API in this. I'm using open street map, like you see here, which it says leaflet. So I'm basically using leaflet API for generating map. So if I now search for leaflet, oh yeah. So it's a JavaScript. You just basically can download it and pull it. Uh, it shows you version because you can just click and download it, and then you will extract it. You when you will extract it, yeah, you can add it to. You can basically add it to your. I think I'm using a different. I'm basically using a different directory for this. Let me see, what is that? Yeah, see, when I extract it, I get something like that. And yeah, it's yeah, probably I'm using this code. Later on, I tried to switch it to this one. So in this one, I have moved this leaflet.js here, and there it comes with leaflet.css when you extract it. And it's good to have. Uh, so how do you get that? So basically, you need to own this repo, and you will get the similar one. And once you clone it, you don't need to run it locally. It's a Chrome extension. So what you will do is you will I can close that maybe, but you will go to the extension options and manage extensions. I was trying different versions, so I can just I don't know. Yeah, I saw a similar way you can basically you need to make sure first you have developer mode on to try local extensions. Uh, and then you click on load impact and select like your git clone repo. Yeah, you don't need to add a specific leaflet JavaScript API that I was telling for other uh, separate projects. If you want to do it here, I have already added right here. And then you just keep this, select this primary parent directory, and then click select. It's going to load the extension this way. Yes, yeah, it'll going to load the extension this way, and then uh, it'll basically ask you for uh, API for Google Map and Google Gemini, and that then you just paste it. I am not showing because I can show, but then it will reveal my if I select settings, it will reveal my API keys. So the UI just don't have anything else. Just will ask you for keys, and then you click on save, and then you'll see something like that if you click on the extension here. Yeah, so my extension is 1.2.0. Yeah, it's just this one. It should be this one. So if I click, yeah, the other thing to learn about is if you're getting some permission issues, you can check its permission by going here. If you're going to load this Chrome extension, it'll ask you for permission, and here you can just allow it. For Chrome extension, those need camera, microphone, access. You can enable it, but by default, it'll ask you if you'll try to use it. So this is where there are a lot of permissions mentioned here, and we don't need those for only the location ones, which it'll ask you. But that's not. Then you can enable it based on the requirements. And here also you can just select and get the yeah, it's a placeholder because when we will select the area and we will select something like that, and oh, I think I'm not using it. Yeah, basically you can search for any location here also. Manhattan, something like that, and it will load something out of it. See, and it's giving you information about Manhattan, and that location last time we have already seen. But okay, we got the idea with the Chrome extension. If you're able to, if you're having problem, let me know. So there are annotations also. Pretty cool. Uh, okay, we'll look at the directory structure. So the one of the important file is, I think something is, I'll just remove this. Yeah, some annotations, how they are everything. They're all right, yes. Okay, so we need to understand our manifest file and background service worker. So this Chrome extension has a couple of those different structure that I can explain you. So first we'll go here in our repo. So yeah, this is the same repo in a TechNav with the Chrome extension, GeoExplorer, and we have one of the most important one is like manifest.json. In manifest.json, we are using version 3, as we can see here, and that's name and basic information description. These are the PNG we're using for icon, favicon kind of information. So what's special with version 3 is just the latest and greatest version for the Chrome platform extension, and it contain basic information like we discussed, but then it provides some more better security option, and it also provide more better better practice or security permission to avoid cross-site scripting attacks. Uh, so there's action field here, which is a field that defines browser toolbar icon for our extension. And the permission field is to have like a storage, geolocation, active tab. It only we request only the permission necessary for our application. The storage one is used for saving persistent locations and API keys, and geolocation is used for accessing a user content location for mapping. Active tab for interacting with the current browser tab. Like if you want to open a new tab, like just like we are opening our map, then it is more useful. Host permissions specify which external domain we need to communicate with. The Google Map endpoint are communicating for mapping functionality, and then generative language API is also using uh, for communicating with like Gemini, right? So that those are all we need to add in our host permission to mention which external API you want to communicate with. Otherwise, it will try to block you, and you will not be able to generate your map or communicate with Gemini API. The service background script is also very useful. So basically, these are the script mostly in use. Background script is also useful here. Uh, so it has a service worker, and a script runs in the background to handle request and data persistence. It is designed to be lightweight and even driven, and responding to the message from other parts of the extension is also one of its role. We have an option page also. If you see here in option directory, and we have so what it does in option page, option.js maybe. Yeah. So here, if you see, so when it is also taking our API keys, so it runs in the like a background when you first time load your extension. Uh, so this one option have like a HTML also, so it'll provide you the page. So when you will going to load your extension, just make sure you have developer mode open, enable. And yeah, that's mostly rest of the files are mostly same. API service, chat interface, they're all same. So that is what you have to mostly change. And this is, yeah, we're using Leaflet API also here. So that we just have to download and call it. So that's nothing you need to write it by yourself. And this is like information about the all the JavaScript that we have already covered in web application also. This is how the architecture of the extension inside of when you load it, it looks like, and there is a outside part and there is an inside part. The outside part is basically which is communicating with external APIs, and the inside part is which is basically more core part of the extension because you have already loaded the extension in the browser. So it has the content script section, uh, which is basically to run context of web pages whenever the user is visiting or clicking and doing anything. Uh, and so they have like limited access to Chrome API, but they can like modify content directly when you're like clicking, right? And we can use our content script to integrate with existing map. So we're doing it, and to extract location from the pages. The other option is like context menu. If you see here, when you do like a right click and something on your Chrome extension, just like our Chrome extension here, yeah. So if I do here, like I click here and I'm getting these options, right? Uh, yeah, I don't think I have right click functionality in this. So yeah, basically that is context menu. And in the pop-up window, pop-up is an interface that appears when you click an extension icon. This, like you saw, it open up a new tab. But some extension you see when you click maybe like a Google Translate, it'll open a pop-up. So that's basically the pop-up. So in our code, if we see we have a pop-up also, and we have to define how does pop-up should look like. And that's also pretty straightforward HTML. And I have added comments for better understanding. Because of the limited time, I can't go through the whole code, but we covered most of it. And then the other very important part is Chrome storage, how you're saving the location, you're browsing everything, and those all get stored in the Chrome storage, browser storage itself, instead of running like application when we were doing earlier. We might be saving in our like application directory that we cloned. And this also provide a sync capability across the devices if the users are signed into Chrome. Yeah, which is also useful. And we also store API keys. This got stored in a secure location, so we also need to handle that. There's an API called Chrome storage.local API that handle persistent with asynchronous communication. And I was talking about the background script, which has a service worker, is so it act as a central coordinator for our extension. It handle API request to Gemini, Google Map, and data storage retrieval. So it's basically on the background, kind of a central point, and does a lot of work. And if in case of any error are coming, it'll going to alert and throw error to our dev tools where we will see those notifications. So yeah, that's most of it. And in future, if you want to reference, like basically the reference is basically it's the source code. If you want to get the source code of these applications, just go to HVTechNav on github.com and you'll find the repositories for Geo Explorer and you can use those. Thank you very much. Let me know if you have any questions or any comments, concern. Uh, feel free to contact me now after the session or to know any information. Thank you very much.